Turning now to the uncertainty surrounding the potential government shutdown. Today, the House is expected to vote on multiple bills that could help fund parts of the government. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is following all of this for us from Capitol Hill. Scott, good to see you. There are reports that the Senate will be moving ahead with a continuing resolution. What is that, and how could that avoid a government shutdown? Because I would presume, the House has to be on the same page.
It speeds the process up, Anne-Marie, which is important with only a few days till the deadline. There's this bipartisan group of senators who think they have bipartisan consensus on a plan to just keep the government open another month or two to let negotiations extend and to end the impasse. It likely is a slim bill. No funding for Ukraine, no contentious items, none of those poison pills legislators sometimes put in their bills to galvanize their own party's support. But the transcendent question of the moment is, will the U.S. House Speaker put that thing on the floor to a vote where he could draw bipartisan support in the House and avert a shutdown? But some Republicans have been unequivocal, Anne-Marie. They will move against McCarthy, try to oust him from his speakership if he gets Democratic support for a bill when Republicans are holding out for significant cuts to avoid the budget deficit from ballooning. This is an inevitable moment. If there's going to be a push comes to shove over whether Kevin McCarthy allows Democratic votes to keep the government open, what the Senate's doing, Anne-Marie, is speeds that process up, might put him on the line as early as tomorrow.
So then what is the path forward for Kevin McCarthy? Is it more concessions, more sort of agreeing to more things down the road? But I would think that this is what he agreed to when he was able to solidify his position as Speaker. He agreed to limit government spending, and so now he's stuck.
This has been the mess the entire time. Ultimately, Republicans are holding Kevin McCarthy's feet to the fire, saying he cannot work with Democrats to get bipartisan government funding done. They want to make this a Republican bill, a Republican plan, because the Republicans have the majority, and they have been unambiguous in their criticisms of the deal he cut with the president and Democrats to avert the debt ceiling crisis. But there's a fundamental reality. There's no way to keep the government open or to reopen it after a shutdown without both Republicans and Democrats signing on. There is a Democrat in the White House. Democrats control the Senate. So Kevin McCarthy's been painted into a corner for several weeks and months now on this issue, and what the Senate's doing is having him decide what to do about being painted in the corner sooner than that Sunday deadline.
And so now we have federal employee unions mobilizing in the wake of a potential shutdown. What are you hearing?
Keeping in mind, federal employee unions represent nearly 1 million federal workers nationwide, many of whom, if not all of whom, will go without a paycheck at some point during a government shutdown, exacting a lot of pain on them, their families, and the businesses in their communities. Federal employee unions, including the American Federation of Government Employees, have shared information with their members about food pantries, how to apply for unemployment insurance, how to get access to secondary employment so they don't go without paychecks for too long. Take a listen to the president of the AFGE speaking with CBS News.
Each day I'm hearing stories from our members, and I'm sharing those stories with the members of Congress, letting them know exactly how, our members are feeling, and the fact that they're feeling like, they are being stepped on, or the fact that they feel like they are political pundits, and, they are tired of that.
The American Federation of Government Employees, the National Treasury Employees Union. They have members in every corner of America. Every community has a federal workforce, and every community will feel the economic impact if and when this shutdown begins Sunday, 12:01 a.m.
Yeah, it's a good reminder of just the ripple effect that a shutdown can have. Scott, thank you very much.